this is the nursing professor here to talk to you today about six ways to get the correct answer to most questions. We know this is true, and trust me, we've all been there, that with nursing questions, many times you're given a stem of a question, you're given a distractor that has nothing to do with the question, but you have to learn how to dismiss the distractor and get to the meat of the question. So let me go through a few things with you. So one of the things that I frequently use when coaching students is to tell them these cues. So first, you want to recognize the cue. When I say recognize the cue, you want to figure out what's important. What's important about what that question is asking you. Then you want to analyze the cue to determine what symptoms or what conditions are actually supporting what you find is important. Then at that point, you can get rid of the distractions, because trust, there will be some distractions in the questions. You want to then prioritize what steps you should take, because many times, especially in next gen ed questions, clinical judgment questions, they want to know, what do you do first? And so when you're thinking about what to do first, think about, if you delay that first step, what all is going to be impacted by that. And I'm going to give you a sample question at the end of this, so stick with me. Develop a possible solution. So that is, of course, what can we do about whatever this problem is? And then your interventions. Have your client take actions. You know, it could be either they take medications, you might have to reposition them, you might have to change an ostomy bag. There is some sort of action that has to happen. And then you want to evaluate the effectiveness. Did it work? Did it not work? If something doesn't work, you got to go back to the beginning, because remember the steps of the nursing process. All right. So those are 6 strategies, 6 steps to getting the right answer. So let me give you an example of how to apply that. All right. So the question is this. You're caring for a patient with a colostomy. A colostomy is actually an outpouching, usually of the colon, where somebody has some sort of trauma, disease, and the surgeon went in and they took out the bad part of the colon and they put the good part of the colon back together. It's called anastomosis. All right, so they do that, and now the person has a stoma, which is on the abdomen, which is usually beefy red tissue that's on the abdomen, and it's usually covered with some sort of appliance, like a plastic bag or some sort of collection device, such that the person isn't peeing or pooping on themselves, because that is the way their body is going to do elimination of some sort of waste, be it stool or urine. And I'm going to do a specific video on that, talking about both GI and GU system. But keep that in mind. So you're caring for a patient with a colostomy. In order to provide safe care, you understand that when irrigating a colostomy, a proper fitted cone is needed to prevent what? So again, look at this question. So now I described to you what a colostomy was. It's saying safe care. So this means something that's not going to be harmful to your patient at all. And it's focusing on you irrigating, which meaning you're instilling some sort of solution into the ostomy or the opening, such that you can get that area clean. Okay, so let me read that question to you again, since you have those pieces. You're caring for a patient with a colostomy. In order to provide safe care, you understand that when irrigating a colostomy, a properly fitted cone is needed to prevent. Let me give you your choices. A, introducing air into the colon. B, leaking the solution around the stoma. C, administering the solution too rapidly. Or D, introduction of bacteria from the stoma. Okay? All right. Break this down. Is the answer A, introducing air in the colon? Now, no one is saying anything about any air into the colon. What we're talking about in this question is irrigation, which means instilling of fluid. So that one automatically gets dismissed. That is not the answer. This B says leaking the solution around the stoma. Okay, so that's a good possibility because it's talking about the cone needs to fit properly in the stoma. And so you might be concerned about leakage around the stoma if the cone isn't properly fitted. So that's a real possibility. C says administering the solution too rapidly. If you don't understand a colostomy and what you do with it, you might be concerned about that. However, the question is not asking you about that. The question specifically talks about the fitting of the cone into the ostomy. And so administering solution too rapidly is a concern, but has nothing to do with the fitting of the cone. So that one goes away. D, introduction of bacteria from the stoma. What do we know about the colon? Is the colon sterile at any point? No, it's not. The colon is how our bodies is used as a mechanism to take waste away from our body. So after metabolism, then it actually removes organic waste products. So would we really be concerned about sterility in the colon? No, it's not an issue there. Okay, so the only answer that you have is leaking this B, which was leaking the solution around the stoma. Again, let me read this question, let me read the answer, and hopefully you'll connect the dots. You're caring for a patient with a colostomy. In order to provide safe care, you understand that when irrigating a colostomy, a properly fitted cone is needed to prevent, the answer is B, leaking the solution around the stoma. That's the only answer that makes sense as it relates to the question, because the question is really asking you about the proper fit of the cone into the ostomy. And so, of course, you would be concerned about any leakage, because if you got leakage around the stoma, that cone is not fitting properly, right? All right, so that's just an example. So that is 6 cues that you can use in order to come down to the right answer. And you need to practice that. This is what you should do with every question, especially when you're at home practicing, so that you can get the right answer. Because then the more you practice, then the more you're able to quickly eliminate those choices that are just wrong. All right. So that's it for now. This is a nursing professor. Good luck on your next exam, and please try to use those tools because they really, really do work. All right. Bye for now. Hi, this is the nursing professor here to talk to you today about six ways to get the correct answer to most questions. We know this is true, and trust me, we've all been there, that with nursing questions, many times you're given a stem of a question, you're given a distractor that has nothing to do with the question, but you have to learn how to dismiss the distractor and get to the meat of the question. So let me go through a few things with you. So one of the things that I frequently use when coaching students is to tell them these cues. So first, you want to recognize the cue. When I say recognize the cue, you want to figure out what's important. What's